Welcome to Her Health First Wellness Collective, where Black women come first. We're here to educate, advocate, and empower you to take charge of your health because your well-being is not optional, it's essential. Welcome to Her. What do you do when the doctor says your child has cancer? In this deeply personal episode, I sit down with my mom and dad to talk about the moment that everything changed, how they navigated the fear, the fight, and the faith it took to hold our family together. This is their story, raw, honest, and full of heart. Ready to join the conversation? Come on in. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Her Health First Wellness Collective. I'm Traci, and today I have some very special guests on with me. I know you're normally used to seeing Tamesha, but I have Steve and Coralene, who I call, or Tamesha and I, we call mom and dad. So, hey, mom, hey, dad. Welcome, welcome. So today we're going to talk about just the journey because y'all hear the journey all the time from my point of view. Y'all hear Tamisha's firsthand point of view. So now we're going to go into my mom and dad are going to share their thoughts, their feelings, their reactions as parents receiving the news. So first, we're going to set the stage. So, first question is, can you take us back to the day you found out about the diagnosis? And what is it about that day that you remember the most?
I remember the phone call when you said you had news, and I said, good news or bad news? You said bad news. First, they called and asked me if your father was home, and I said yes. And you asked, I said, good news or bad news? I went straight, he was sitting on the toilet, and I went in there with the phone, put it on speaker. I said, your daughter say on the phone, they say they have bad news.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of stressful that day doing that. At that time, up until that point of the day, everything was going well, you know.
Yeah.
And then here comes this phone call out of the blue,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And then what threw me was when he said to Misha, because I would more think it would be you, given the problems you had with the cyst and having to get the mammograms every 6 months. And so when I heard to Misha, that was like out of the blue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because I know, like I say all the time, when we found out, and because like you said, I've been going through this with the cysts and the mammograms and the biopsies. When she had hers, it was just, oh, okay, it's a
Mhm.
biopsy, it's a mammogram, it's gonna be all right. So when she brought the phone and she said, what does this mean? Yeah, so but I'm about to tear up now as it is because just thinking we don't think about that part that much anymore.
Right.
We just focus on going through, but just going back to that part, yeah, that was a rough day, a rough day. So what were your first thoughts or feelings when you heard the word cancer being connected to your child?
And I heard the word cancer, oh my God, and thinking there's nothing I can do. This is going to be a rough process. And
Yeah,
that was my first thought.
Never thought
yeah.
cancer would hit my family. That's the thing. I work in a hospital in the lab, do all this
Hmm.
testing for all these people coming in and seeing all of this.
Yeah,
I was always above that. It would never touch my family.
right.
Unfortunately, no, it can't happen to any family.
Yeah, here we are. Here we are. Absolutely. So how did you explain the diagnosis to family and other friends?
I was just straight up, no chaser, because I have few friends in my, as Dr. Tasha Rogers called them, my tribe. So the
Hmm.
first one I called was Hazel. I said, I got some bad news for you. Tamisha got cancer. She was like, well, maybe chit chat for a little. Then I called my sister and I said, she's probably in prayer meeting. Let me call her and she will call me back. But she texted me right away and said, I'm in church. Do you want me to step out and talk to you? And I said, no, I just
Mm-hmm.
want you to know Tamisha has cancer. So then when she called me, said, I call you after church. She said, I text you because I know you don't call me this time of night.
Right.
And I felt something happen. So I had just finished praying for the family when I got that text. And then I think I might have called Esther next, told Esther. And then Vanta was at work. So I called her at work and I told her, and then the next day I told her my cousin in England, I just like close tribe. I have those first set that I called there, that's the close tribe right there. And
Yeah.
Heather, I called Heather too.
Oh yeah.
But for me, my tribe is very small, minuscule,
Mm-hmm.
maybe two people in the whole world that is really close to me. So, and even with that, it took me, I got Edric maybe 2 weeks later.
2, 3, was it close to your birthday? April?
Yeah, I didn't even talk to him until his birthday is in February. I didn't talk to him sometime in February because I handle it. It was I don't depend on anyone other than me and the ride or die here next to me, and we already knew what was going on. So, and one thing she told me, you need more friends, but like I tell her, no, I don't. I have enough. So it was just me dealing with my part of it, especially when I'm not home. I had to do it by myself. Oh, she was broken. She was broken. It broke her. The very first time in our relationship of 35, 36 years.
37, almost 38.
Okay, 37. And before us getting together, we grew up together as kids in the same neighborhood. The very first time, so that's the second time I saw her when her grandfather passed. And this case, it was like, oh my God, what am I going how can I fix this? And I realized I can't fix it other than being here, present, and what's going on. And then my focus switched to Tamesha, how she's going to get better. What do I need to do? What do we need to do to make sure that she's better? And not only her, she has Raina. That was like, that piece thinking of Raina was, I guess, the closest I came to tears for this whole deal. Oh, oh.
The hardest moment for me is the day she had that chemo and you sent me that picture. I called him and he wasn't there. And I sent the link to you with the message. I couldn't get up my words. I was just bawling from the bottom. It still got me emotional right now. I was just bawling from the bottom of my belly because here was my child hooked up with this thing. I call it poison. I know it is good to help her, but I call it poison because it does all kind of things to the body. So that was my emotional moment. And then the other moment was when I just got up one morning and said to him, if something happens to Tamesha, we can't take Rena from Lyric. I said, and Tracy has a lot on her plate. He just looked at me and said, we'll sell the house, we'll move to Florida, and we'll help Tracy raise Rena. And I was like, okay, set.
But for me, it is the practical side of getting through life. I mean, it's all that emotion came, and I'm like, there's nothing that I can physically do to help her with this, going through this process. I'm not a doctor. Like I said, I work in a lab. I can give her some pointers, some lab tests to ask for. To me, that's all the hard data that my brain process everything with hard data, so I can set my expression levels and deal with my emotions that way. And I even enlisted a pathologist at work to find out what's the next, here, this what's the result from this, what's the result from that. But still, there's nothing I can do. All that I can do to be there when she call if you want to talk.
Well, that was the day you got to
Mhm. And if Raina needs something, I'd be there for Raina. And I was at work, and when I was talking to him, my eyes started watering.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't cry. What is this
I
happening?
know. Yeah. Yeah.
Even now I can feel the water in my eyes when they go back to that
Mm,
moment. It's ridiculous that things that I can normally brush off without a
mhm.
second thought,
Yeah.
it can land right in my lap.
Hmm.
And I don't even know if I got my head completely around it yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they're all everybody keeps saying. Of all people, Tad? That's just
But in my instance, I don't think if it doesn't matter if it was any one of you,
yeah,
you,
yeah,
Sally Steve, anyone that I think that would just affect me in the same way because that's
yeah.
my child. You know,
Hmm.
it'd be tough even if my ride or die happens, something happened, my ride or die, that would be tough. But
Yeah.
my father had a stroke,
Yeah.
brother, my mother, all these other things happened in my life, and I was able to hold it together because of
Yeah.
my rational, analytical mind. And for some
Hmm.
reason, I don't know, parenthood, maybe
Yeah. Yes.
that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. And it's tough, like I said, for me looking, seeing just the different levels and how it affects everybody. Just this one thing just affects
But
everybody.
for you, even you were closer to it, dealing with that day to day life
Yeah.
living,
Every day,
traveling with her,
waiting on the chemo.
taking care of everything, that you even have a different look on it. And I think it's a more
Hmm.
intense for you because, yeah, we're way up here in Philly. You guys in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, you guys are in Florida. All we can hear is on the phone. We don't see,
Hmm.
what's going on. Yeah, we've been making monthly trips down there, but the trips only
Yeah.
last 4 days, and sometimes, you don't see all that emotional the way from her, how she looks. You don't
Yeah.
get that
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah. Yeah, shit. I mean, like we were saying in one of the videos, it just for us now, it's just become this is the routine. So
Mhm.
we know, I know on Wednesday morning she's gonna be anxious. She anxious on the way to chemo. She anxious, now throughout labs because of the delays and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
it's just trying to, me trying to help her deal with that anxiety, and we talk about things and shows and kind of distracting her and stuff like that. But it's just it's the routine, and we know she's gonna be tired Thursday, Friday, Saturday, then Sunday she'll start to bounce back. So it's just that's just become our routine now. Not that we numb to it, but
Mhm.
it's it got still because you still got the kids, and for them, nothing really has changed. It's the auntie and mommy sick, and
Mhm.
but they still, my, auntie. For them, nothing's changed. If she's sleeping, they know okay, auntie and mommy sleeping. We gonna go over here. They can still make noise,
Mhm.
but we'll go over here. So yeah, it's just become, just we just do it. Get up every morning and do it. Yeah. So, how did each of you cope with the uncertainty and the fear? I know we talked a little bit about, not being able to do anything physically.
Yeah, I talk mine out with my tribe. You talk, they call, ask me, how's Tamesha doing? How are you doing? So that's how I communicate. That's how I deal with it. My
Okay.
friends talk. I have my sister that went through it, and Esther went through it, and then I have another friend called Vesta. She went through it, so I have those. And one of his cousins told me if I have any questions to call her, but I didn't have to call her. But I had some people that went through it that could, that talk to me and let me know.
Hmm.
For me,
Okay.
it's all by myself. When
Yeah.
I'm driving, I'm thinking about it. I'm talking to
Hmm.
myself and that stuff. That's the time where I voice it. I verbally let it come out of me when I'm by myself. That's how I deal with things, most everything. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I still stay on an even keel. I'm still able to know right from wrong and that kind of stuff. But I'm always looking forward to have, Tamisha occupies a huge part of my day, a huge part of my brain during the day because
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me see. So obviously, y'all process things differently. Us as women, we're a little bit more emotional, and men are more
Yes.
men are more practical, and they're this. So how do y'all support each other? Being that y'all process it so differently.
I don't know because we just continue doing what we do all the time.
He's
You know?
teased me because
Yeah.
I said they broke me, so that's how he. So, but like I said, I can't support him because he don't talk to me on that kind
Right.
of like don't tell me things. So for me,
Yeah.
I just talk to my friends. Hazel, well, she knows. I guess we know each other so much. If she called me, hello, she said, "What's wrong?" Nothing. No, no, no. Don't tell me that. You don't sound right. What's going on today?
Yeah.
And I would tell her, like, wait till Tamesha had to say, I said, try and get chemo today. She said, oh, okay. And we will talk. Or she, no. If it's, if I hear, so I would call him and I would tell him, he would like, okay, all right. And that's it. Me, I
Mm-hmm.
will dissect it in my head and call my friends and all that stuff. But he would like, okay. So I know
Yeah.
that's how we is.
Because that when you tell me that's something that I need to put inside now and I need to adjust my life to
Mm-hmm.
take care of that, to manage that. So like when they called when she first did not get the chemo, when they said her cells were down, her platelets was down, I was like, no, but that is, and automatically in my mind it went to, I've seen this in other patients, and this can happen or that can happen. I didn't want to bring that home and put that on her or anybody
Right.
else. So
Yeah.
I just hold that and I manage it, and automatically I went to the medications that can help
Mm-hmm.
improve the bone marrow to put out more cells. And I came home, I was talking
Mm-hmm.
to her about that part of it, but I didn't tell her about the negative part, So I
Right.
make
Right.
sure that I
Yeah.
keep not the Pollyanna syndrome, but just the good stuff up front and out. That's what
Yeah.
comes out. I got to stay strong and positive because,
Yeah.
like you said, as a man, if I'm falling apart in pieces, you know,
Mm-hmm.
he might fall apart in pieces. Then
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
hear and see it, you fall apart in pieces, and then that can affect Tamisha's mindset because she's so positive. I don't want to have brand on her.
Yeah.
So that's when I
Right.
talk to Tamisha. That's the person I usually talk to about most is her. I make my Thursday
Mm-hmm.
call to her, and we talk on Thursdays, and we hit all those
Mm-hmm.
points, all the clinical points. Then, how are you doing? Tell me, how are you really doing? I want to know how you really doing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just tell me, oh, I'm doing fine, and that you're
Yeah.
tired and your stomach's upset or something like that.
If you want to know who Tamesha really doing, I call Tracy. Tamesha will always be doing good.
Oh,
Tamesha will always be doing good.
so yeah.
Yes, yeah. And we talk about that too. Talk about, when y'all call her and stuff like that. And she said, it's not that I don't want to tell them, it's just I don't want them to worry and I don't want it. And I said, well, yeah, I understand. I said, but they're gonna worry anyway. They're gonna worry
But
anyway.
that's the problem. If she's not feeling happy and good, or there's something wrong, she needs to express it out. It's good that you're in the house
Yeah.
that you can see it, but she needs to
Hmm.
also deal with that. And if it's just
Yes.
verbalizing it, might help her to
So
get
the
to
answer
get
is
Hmm.
past
yes.
it.
Yeah, she'll tell you she'll always tell you she's doing good, but I know when something isn't, when she's not her usual self. I know. And now, so if she tell me, I say, oh, how you feeling today? Oh, I'm good. And then so I would see, and I would just ask more questions, and then I would get to the bottom of it. But usually it's usually mostly the fatigue, and then the different little symptoms, because with the neuropathy, now she can't really open jars and stuff like that. She don't cook anymore because everything just tastes so salty to her and stuff like that. So I told her, you know what, don't worry about it. Even though she enjoyed it, I said, if you don't feel up to it, don't worry about it. I'll do it. So I've been doing a lot of meal prepping and stuff like that. But yeah, I just know when I see her in the morning, I'll know based on how she get out of bed, how long it take her to get out of bed, how she moving around anymore. I can tell how she's feeling, for the day. So. But yeah, it is different being able to lay eyes on her versus, she could tell y'all, she could
Oh,
tell y'all whatever. So, so we already talked about who helped through y'all's hardest times. God, Daddy, you say, you mostly just, so you do it on your own, talk it out. And Mom, you got your tribe.
mm,
And we already talked about these specific people. So are there any moments in particular where you felt especially supported, where you felt like you know what? This my tribe is doing what it's supposed to do, and I'm good.
My tribe, I felt supported throughout. My tribe was there. I have even my second. I have a secondary tribe like Cora and Lana and those people. They got to Misha's in prayer groups. My cousin Wendy in England lit a
Mhm.
candle. I paid to keep that candle until it burned out. She's still on the prayer list. She's on so many prayer lists. Miss Cora have her on a prayer list. Lana have her on the prayer list. I mean, she's on prayer list. Vanta's niece have her on the prayer list. She's
Yeah.
all over the place. She's on this, but so my tribe came through, and then they have the inner tribe that I can always call and talk to. Well, my friend Vesta said to me, "You can call me anytime, but don't call me when you're crying because I will cry too."
Yes.
So I know when
Mm-hmm.
if I'm crying, don't call Vesta. She watched the videos and cry.
Right.
So yeah, because she went through it too, but she's normally she's a very emotional person. So
Mm-hmm.
Claire, you know
Yeah.
Claire. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's all part of the tribe. So my tribe has been there. I can call and say, anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, like I said, I don't think I've had the reason to call on my tribe because, like I said, Edric and Jackie. I mean, if I got a tribe,
I just check
it's
in.
a small one, not as big as yours, but and I'm told whatever you want, call. But when I concerned, okay, it's sad. They're sad to hear, and they wish her the best. Edric's wife went through this, and he said, "Well, whatever you need to know, call." And
Yeah.
me, him, and his wife, we all went to college together.
Mm.
That's a resource that I didn't have to tap into yet.
And Vesta is his mother.
And then my cousin
Mm.
Jackie, who went through this, she's the same thing. Whatever you need, call. Like
Right.
Esther, Steve, she called and she
Mm-hmm.
wanted to start crying on the phone. It's like,
But my tribe calls me and my tribe calls and check on me too. My tribe called and make sure I'm
Mm-hmm.
okay. And when they heard that Tamesha wasn't getting chemo, did Tamesha get her chemo today? It was like, yes, they called me early Wednesday morning. I said, well, I don't know yet. She didn't get there yet. So then when they called Van, they said, Van, it was a go. Van, they said, oh, well, I just told my sister I got to call you to find out if Tamesha got her,
Mm-hmm.
so.
yeah, and like Matt, Vanta's
Yes,
husband,
yes,
he calls
yes,
me just
yes,
every week to check in to see
yes. And he also
what's
said,
going
even
on.
though he know me, Van, thought he would send me a text thinking about my daughter, how's my daughter going?
So
Yeah.
I think we're
Yeah.
supported.
Yeah,
The people
yeah.
support us. And if we need to call on them, that they'll be there.
Yes.
And that is not just
Yeah.
for in this crisis.
Anytime.
That was,
Right.
since we moved in this area in 2003, 2000, end of
Yeah.
2002, that's the way it was.
And Vesta was there long before that,
No,
because he and
Mm-hmm.
I went to college together. So,
Right.
and Claire was forever, like, from the,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Jeez. Yeah. It's been a long time.
Claire and Heather, the long term. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a long time. All right. So, what advice do you wish someone had told you at the beginning of this journey with Tamesha?
That when your child is sick, you feel so lost and helpless. That was it for me. I felt lost. Even now, I feel helpless because there's nothing I can do. I have to sit around and wait for chemo to decide if it's going to work. Wait for radiation to dictate things to me. Nothing I can do. And that
Yeah.
is feel helpless and hopeless, really, because I can't do anything.
Mm.
but I knew it would take a while for this whole process to play out, if you go through this whole process. But I wish some person to tell me you need to have patience because I want it over. I want it needs to be done and over with.
Yeah.
And let's get
Yeah.
past this and be over it. Um,
Yeah.
but the way this things work, it takes time to work out, and I've seen patients come to the hospital for years. But patience is the biggest thing for me. I need it done. I need it over with.
Yeah. All right. So what advice would you give to other parents who are navigating a cancer diagnosis with their child?
To make sure that they reach up to their tribe, pray, have faith, and even though the children may say, "Oh, I don't need," just make sure that you'll be there for them to assist them when they need. I know Tamisha probably she was probably getting ready to tell me, "I don't have to come every month," and I wait to her. And I tell her, I went in their ear, and I said, "I'm going to come and see you every month. Just think about if it was
Mhm.
Rena, what would you do for
Yeah.
Rena?" And she was okay, man,
Right.
and that was it. So at least
Yeah.
let them know where you're coming from. Just because I know she might not have seen it from that point of view. This is my mother.
Right.
I'm ready. Anything that's wrong with me, I'm going to be there no matter what. So I just had to let her know,
Right.
well, just how you see Ren, I see you. So I'm there for you no matter what.
Yeah.
But I would just tell them to be present. Make sure that they show up, they offer to be helped. Don't be like the belligerent person that comes to do it this way, do it my way, this is what it's got to be. Let that person lead. And that's why I don't call you, I call
Mm-hmm.
Tamesha. And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, she don't give me the full story, but maybe that's what she's comfortable with. So that's why
Yeah.
she's leading, even if there's something that Raina needs or that I think that
Mm-hmm.
Raina should have. I will offer, then she would say, "Oh no, I can take care of that," or Traci takes care of that. That kind of stuff. So I don't want to impose my views on her, and I recommend that any other parent impose
Mhm.
their view on their child. Just be
Yeah.
present. Here I am. If you need me, I'm here, regardless to what it is. It might be a request that I can't fulfill, but I will try to find some way to fulfill that request.
Tanisha is not going to ask. So that's the other thing. If you have a child
Yeah.
that's not going to ask, then if you hear them say they need something, hear that something is needed, and you can provide it, because Tamisha's not going to ask.
She's not. Tamisha is very. She just now got to the point where she'll ask me
Mm.
for something. Tamisha do not, and that was one of her biggest things with this. When before we called you guys, she said first thing she said, "Oh my gosh," she said, "I do not want to have to tell them this." She said, "I don't want to be like a burden." So I had to have a conversation with her before we
Yeah.
called you, and I told her, I said, "A burden? What you mean?" I said, "Because if the shoe was on the other foot, what would you do?
Mhm.
How would you feel? You wouldn't feel like I was a burden or Sally Ann or anybody else. So, you got to look at it that way." I said, and nobody wants to feel like they're a burden, but at the same time, we need the support.
Yes.
We need the support,
Yes.
and it'll be there. You take as much as you need and go on about your business. So she always laughed when I said so now, if I ask her, I'd be like, all right, well, because sometimes some of the things that, even though we live together, some of the things that Brenda would need, I don't think about because Lyric don't need it.
Mhm.
So now we'll sit down and we'll be like, okay, like school coming up, girls going to the same school. Oh, they need this, they need that, and need this. Okay, okay, okay. So, things like that. But she just started to where she'll say, hey, Trace, I need whatever.
And I
So,
had to ask her
but
about
she's,
clothes for Rena and whatever. I had to call and ask. I said, what do Rena need,
Mhm.
for school?
I guess we feel first on a certain part.
It's not a fail.
I guess we feel on a certain part and transmitting to you guys that doesn't matter what you need, you can call and ask
Mhm.
us. We've said it
Yeah.
over and over through the years,
Yeah.
but I guess it wasn't forceful enough.
No, but
Let me finish.
sorry.
It wasn't it wasn't forceful enough, and you guys, all five of you, have it in your mind you were wait a minute, Lolita raised to be hardcore, do it on your own. See, look at this fool laughing.
But we raised them to be strong and
Yes,
self-sufficient, and you told them
Yeah.
make you the last man that they depend on.
yes. So I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere.
Right, but that's their way of being self-sufficient, but doing it on their own until they can't do it no more.
Yeah.
Then they will. They look at Tori when they will come in the very last or the last leg. So I guess that's how we raised them. I don't
Yes,
think it was a fail though.
maybe it went off a little bit too far. Instead of saying when
Mhm.
this happened, where she had to be like kind of hesitant to call because she don't want to be a
Because they're
burden.
supposed to be independent. We
Yeah.
raised them to be independent.
But there's some things you can't take care of yourself. You need people
Yeah.
around you to help you.
You know that?
So far, I was able to handle
I
everything.
didn't know that. You didn't know that.
So far, I'm able to handle everything that came my way. This thing here is the first thing that put a little kink in my self confidence, in my ability of my own that I can take care of it because I can't. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
to affect
Hmm.
that cancer. To affect that cancer.
That's
There's
really
nothing I can do.
this coming on my part.
Yeah. Not being able to actually do anything. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we learning. We're learning. We learning. All right. So looking forward. So what has this experience taught you about yourself as parent? Taught to you about yourself as parents. Yourselves.
It taught me I'm more emotional than I thought I was.
Yes, me too. Me too. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had so much tears. I mean, the other day I was watching the first when she walked in first for the first chemo. I cried. And he said, "Well, why were you crying?" Then I showed it to him, and when I showed it to him, then it was crying again. I'm like, so that was
Yeah.
last week
Last week,
last week Sunday. I showed it to
Yeah.
him, and then there it was crying again. I didn't know he had so many tears.
because I usually live my
Yeah.
life. I'm good, no problems. Nothing really touches me on
So
the inside
Yeah.
like that, to that effect.
to this effect.
Yeah.
And maybe I should have known because in the past if something happened to like Tori, or when they were in school and the teacher, another student did something, I would
Hmm.
get like this very
But that was always something we could fix.
right.
Yeah.
But now this happened, it's like
We can't
all
fix
these
it
years, all these years has gone by, and now boom, here's these emotions hit me in my face again that I
Right.
thought I had dealt
because
had control over.
right. So we could
Yeah.
it's something we can't fix no matter what. So I think
Right.
that's where the hard part comes.
Yeah, after all these years, right? I
Mhm.
know. So, how has it changed your view of life, family, or even love?
I don't know if it changed my. I don't know if it changed
You
my
don't love me
view
more?
after you talk about me. I view it like because I always say, oh, life is fragile. But you know what? Well, it did teach me that life is more fragile than we think. Cause here was Tamesha was 40 years old. We text her happy birthday and how we doing. And 4 days later, then she was being diagnosed with cancer. She didn't get to enjoy her 40th birth, her 40th year of life.
Yeah.
So life is fragile and things are so unexpected. When you least think it will happen, then it comes crashing down on you. So you always have to
Yes.
be on the lookout or like prepared. Try to be prepared. Never mind you can't be always prepared, but at least you have to try to see that something may happen. I don't know if you can live your life ever thinking what may happen, but you can't
Right.
take things for granted.
I mean, you gotta love hard, live life to the fullest every day. Don't hold back. You see somebody say I love you,
Yes.
you know, those little petty noises and disagreements. Why you take my car? Why you do this? That it's useless. We're human beings, and that's going to happen. But we need to get past those little petty things in life. For me and my brothers and sisters, you know, we're not that close together. Close, and for petty stuff. I have one sister. She called. We are always connected, but there's 9 of us, and that's the only one I'm really close to. The rest, when we see each other, we talk. Everything seems fine, but as soon as you walk away, you go back into silos.
Mm.
That needs to stop. We should not live that way. You guys need to start living that way also. You live in the present as hard and love as hard as possible because you never know what's going to happen in the next minute, the next second.
And one thing that I would say the parents in the Barbadian community is when something happens to you, talk to your friends because the Barbadian community like to hide things up and to push things on the rug and they don't want nobody. Oh, I don't want nobody know that the daughter have cancer. They would got cancer and nobody knows. And like I said, when I send the
Mm.
videos out to my friends, I should share it with anybody that will look at it. We are not hiding it. So sometimes you got to share because your story might help. If it helps one person, it was not in vain. And that's how I look at it. And I guess that's how I deal with my things, me and my tribe. Maybe will call and be like, this going on with me or whatever. Don't try to hide sickness because nobody bring sickness on themselves. And like my cousin Wendy in England always say, you don't go to the store and buy sickness. It just comes.
And I'm even trying
Yeah.
to figure out how to post these on Facebook. And I don't go on Facebook. I got an account on Facebook because she told me to get an account to see what Steve was doing when he was younger. And I don't know if it took it away from me or whatever, but I can't figure out how to post them on Facebook. So the friends that I have on Facebook can see, I don't know how they're doing before. So maybe you can show me how to post them up later on.
Okay, yeah. How to share it, yeah. Because you pop up on my thing all the time. There's people like me know.
See, it's still
But I don't be on Facebook like that. I just mine posts automatically when I post to Instagram. But I'll see if I could figure out how to show you how to do it. All right, yeah, we'll do that. So because that was the whole point of us doing this,
Mhm.
just it's so much that you don't know.
Yeah.
And I've talked to, with my tribe, it's only two people. So,
See,
I talked to my I have a two-person tribe. So my tribe, that I talk to, same thing, some of these, especially like with some of the side effects
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Never like the whole thing about the fingernails coming, I never knew.
Oh,
Never heard it.
no,
You
never.
always hear about the
The
hair, you
vomiting.
always hear about the fatigue, yeah, the vomiting, the nausea, but I said fingernails come off. I did not
I
know.
didn't know
I
about the
did.
nose hairs either.
Yeah. Oh, the
but but as you know, this chemo it destroys
We
all of the
know, but
cells,
we didn't
so
know.
everything got to be rebuilt itself and reset, and regrow. So yeah,
That was
Let me
eye
share
opening
these
though. The
notes
nose hair, the
here.
fingernails. I know the fingers will turn dark
Yeah.
or something like that, but not the whole. And the cellulitis in the finger, the cellulitis in the fingers. Never knew.
So I think she may have just scratched herself or something,
Yeah,
and then normally where it would have just scab
because
over,
yeah,
it didn't. It didn't. So yeah, but she's so updated on the nose hairs.
yeah.
Her nose is running again. Her allergies to pests. She nose is running. So I give her. So she quarreling every day. I ask her, I said, Tamesha, how many thumbs? It's been two thumbs down now for about 2 days. Because she said she bent over and she nose start running. So she is not happy. But I got her some masks. So she would change out, the cloth mask. She'll just change them out. She nose run. And she only wear them really when the girls are in the house.
Mm-hmm.
So, during the day she'd be mask free. She'd be as soon as we come in the door, then she put it on. But
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, the nose hairs it's not a good couple of days without the nose hairs. So she's but the finger is looking better.
The
The
finger.
swelling going down and stuff like that. So it does look better. So we talked about the way how this has changed your view. So is there anything that you're proud of about yourselves or Tamesha that this experience has brought to light?
I am proud of the positive outlook that she have about this thing because I'd probably be somewhere in the corner, ball up, ball in the state if it was me. I don't know if I could be that strong. Out of
Yeah.
all of my friends, even I have this friend near Cara called, I see your daughter is so positive. I do not understand how to me should just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm proud to see that we have raised some independent, strong women and a
Yeah.
man because one son, four daughters and one son. They're all independent,
Mhm.
strong, individual will, know what you want, what you all want, and you go after it.
And I'm proud of you for being so selfless,
Sure.
taking care of Tamisha, traveling, but not only dropping her off at chemo to come to pick her back up, sitting with her throughout the journey, even when she falls asleep on you, and you are there for her. And I'm so proud that I raised selfless, some selfless children.
I we talked about that also, and that, just we were never, this touchy feely,
So,
you know, we didn't, we've never been like that. We still not touchy feely. We'll say, I'm leaving or love you, be safe. But just I said, for me, and I said I didn't even ask her. For me, once it was, oh, I have cancer. We
Mm-hmm.
having chemo. For me, it was
it's-
we are going to chemo. Yeah, we doing. I didn't even ask. I would never let her do that by herself. And that's what I told her. I said, regardless of how you feel and how you look at it, and you don't want this and you don't want that. No, this is what we are doing. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
letting you do this by yourself. I don't care what you say. So
Mm-hmm.
Tavisha, she could be a little stubborn, but me too.
Mm-hmm.
But me too.
oh Lord.
That she never said, no, I don't want you to come or nothing
Right.
like that. But I told her, I said, for me, it was a no-brainer. This is life changing. No, there's no way you're gonna do any part of this by yourself that you don't have to. I'm gonna be there with you every step of the way. So, and I feel like everybody just rallied around her, and we're getting it done. We're
Yeah.
getting it done.
But
So,
but you see, growing up in Barbados, we weren't the touchy-feely people. But my grandmother always raised me, you be there for people. And she always said to me, the time you know who is there for you is when something happened, when you're off your
right,
feet. When you're on your feet, you don't know who's there for you. And any one of my friends would tell you, if they are sick or somebody can get there, I am going. I'm calling, I'm coming.
yeah,
And I was here one day and Hazel called me and she said, what you doing this weekend? That was last month. And I said, no, she said, I tell David I need to see you. Because she didn't see me
mm,
change this whole thing. And she was like, I tell David, and she came and spent the weekend with me. So,
oh,
that's how we is. Always, my grandmother always say, when you're down is when you know your friends. And
yeah,
I've learned that family, because they're blood, that don't mean that they're your friends. Because you get some
absolutely,
good results from some people that are not related, sometimes better than from who's related. So you
right,
just got to know who's there for you and do your thing.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. All right. So, two more questions. So, what does hope look like for you now?
Seeing, I would like to be there, but seeing Tamesha ring that bell.
Yeah, yeah. I can't wait.
I'm just hoping there's no more setbacks in her treatment.
Right.
Those 2 weeks were bad. They were rough.
Yeah.
I am at work searching this and looking this and talking to pathologists and showing him this and
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out for 2 weeks. And even he agreed with, what the treatment should have been and that kind of stuff. So no more setbacks through this part
Yeah.
of
Straight through to the bell.
right to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure when she's gonna ring the bells after the chemo, after radiation, or after it's all final.
After chemo.
And then getting that positive result
Yeah.
when the next scan comes.
Mm-hmm.
If it is gone or reduced by half or more, that is the hope.
Right.
I'm looking for that she comes through this unscathed. Uh,
Yeah.
I can't do nothing else but put my trust in that the doctors are giving the right medicines for the right treatment,
Mm-hmm.
and it responds. So I'm hoping that everything
Right.
turns out well.
Yeah. Yeah, she rings the bell. So she rings the bell after her last chemo session. So right now it's supposed to be June 18th. It's the last chemo session. So she'll ring the bell then, and then it'll be surgery and then radiation. So
Mhm.
I told her already. I know I'm gonna cry when she ring that bell. I'm gonna be
Mhm.
trying to record it and crying. I'm gonna be crying behind the camera because we saw a lady ring the bell not this past week, the week before.
Mhm.
And because we were on our way out, that was her second delay, and we stood up and we watched. And we were telling that lady, we said congratulations, and she was telling Tamisha, she said, you know what, this is gonna be you one day too. This is gonna be you one day. So it was emotional watching somebody
Mhm.
else ring
Mhm.
the bell.
Mhm.
So I already know when Tamisha ring. I
Mhm.
already know I'm gonna be a basket kid. So, what message do you want to share with other families who are walking this road? Walking,
Stick with each other. Be
yeah,
there for each other, and don't let a petty argument or something that 2 years down the road. What were we arguing about? I don't remember.
right,
Nobody remembers. Just let it go. It is not worth it. Stick together. Be there for your loved ones, and be there for that
yeah.
person who's going through cancer. Listen to their needs. Listen to them. Be there for them. Don't talk about cancer if they don't want to talk about cancer. Just talk about what they want to talk about. Let them be themselves.
And I would say stay strong. You know, and stay strong is not like I'm a man. I don't cry. That's not staying strong. Staying strong is
Mhm.
being there where you might have to be vulnerable so that person can, get something off their chest. You sit there and listen to what they have to say. You know, as as a father going through this, you know, Tamish can call me and ask me and tell me anything. You can. Any one
Mhm.
of you guys can call and ask and have any requests. So just be,
Mhm.
I want to say a family, but family might not be the right word because some families are broken up in pieces. Uh,
Right.
be together. I guess she might have said it best. Be together. Don't let the petty stuff pull you apart.
Mhm.
Support each other. what in whatever form that support comes in.
Mm-hmm.
If I got to get in the car and ride, to show up and act out, then that's what it is. You know, but if you need to go pick up a prescription for some person, do I need to cook a meal for you? Whatever that person needs, you ask them, but do not enforce your will on them. Wait for them you can offer, but you gotta wait for that person to accept.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can tell someone, and together we'll get through it together, because the destiny is not ours to control. Higher power, whosoever believe in the higher power, what the higher power is, has everything already decided. And I guess that's why Tamesha is so positive, because that is what she focuses on.
And Tamesha is definitely, I tell her all the time, she's definitely an inspiration because none of us know how we would deal with it, if it was us. But she's, I tell her that she's a rock star. She just laughs. So you know. But yeah, but see, now y'all got me on here and got me teary. This is probably the first time people don't see me teary and look right. They got my little napkin and. But I appreciate y'all sitting down and talking and sharing y'all point of view because everybody their vantage point is different.
Yeah.
So hearing it from y'all is definitely some of it take you back to certain moments and stuff like that. But just hearing it is it's nice. I like
Yeah,
it. I
because
like it. So
even with all the trips we made to Florida to see her on the week for those weekends, we never had this conversation to like in this in depth
right,
for
Right.
this conversation.
right.
Everything's okay. Do you need? I can take you shopping. I'll take the girls.
Mm-hmm.
Get out. You're here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a lot of. I'm going to use a term that shouldn't be superficial,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
conversations and how you're feeling and looking at, oh, you don't feel so good, maybe there's something's going on. Oh no, I'm okay, daddy. Oh no, my, you know, that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
But never
we,
got deep
we
down.
never sat down and put them like this. And too
yeah,
bad she wasn't here to participate in this piece also to see some of her give back. I mean, life. And,
yeah,
right. God knows she said it might be too
yeah,
emotional for her, but
Mm-hmm.
if she was here, maybe she would get a little bit more healing, or they
yeah,
might accept themselves, something like this.
Yeah. And Cheryl did
yeah.
send her. I don't know if she showed it to you. It says,
Mm.
telling her to thank you for being there for her every day. Cheryl, that you are Cheryl from
Yeah.
our cousin.
She probably forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she may have forgot because she did tell me that I think you sent
She
her
sent it to
Cheryl's
me.
number. Cheryl sent me.
Yeah, Cheryl said
Yeah.
the note to me to give to
Okay.
her because Cheryl don't have her number yet.
Okay.
So I told her to
Okay.
text
Okay.
Cheryl
Okay.
and let her know that she got the chemo and stuff because Cheryl was worried about her
Right.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So we should be good though with chemo from here on out because they're planning on giving her the Neupogen now after every one. So
Okay.
we should be good from here on
So
out because that's what the doctor said.
that's two
Then
thumbs up for
two
me.
thumbs.
Right. And he told her last night that and make sure that if the insurance not covering it, to give us a call.
Yeah, she did tell me that.
Okay.
She did because she was when we got back last night. She did tell me.
Plus we
So
looked at
yeah.
GoodRx and see
So
all the prices and stuff. So
right, right. Because the doctor said no, we don't. No more delays. She don't want to have any more
right.
delays. Since it was 2 weeks, because she
Right.
was anticipating only the one, so she was like that. Why she didn't do the Neupogen? She thought
Mm-hmm.
she would bounce back. But then the next week, when it was even lower, the neutrophils were even lower. She said, "Okay,
Right.
so we gotta get you back on these shots." So
Yeah. So
from here on
hopefully.
out,
So no more delays. If they don't cover it, let us know we got the GoodRx card and I guess we'll send it to
yeah.
her. If she find anytime you go to the doctor office, you see a GoodRx card, get one. Or there's another
Okay,
one too,
yeah,
but
I
they give
have
you
one.
right,
Single tears.
single care or something, they gives you discounts and stuff too.
Okay.
But I got one, I could always send
Oh,
her a picture and let them scan it.
Martin
yeah.
Short, whosoever's advertised it, single tears.
Mm,
Single tears.
Yeah, but
single care. Okay.
GoodRx, because for one
Mhm.
injection they got it down to 200 and change.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
because I know it's
5 injections
expensive.
is $1,000.
Yeah, I knew she had some kind of a resource. One of the resources that she used, that they would pay. They might pay for it. I think I gotta ask her again because
That's
we were
okay.
talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking about it. I gotta ask her again about things. I think there was one that would cover medications.
Okay.
But up until this point, we
She
didn't have
didn't
to
need
pay
to.
for any
Right.
medication, out of pocket. So yeah. All right. Well,
All
that
right.
is it. Thank you all for joining me. This emotional episode, this emotional video. I definitely appreciate, the candor, and appreciate you being here, and seeing y'all. Not that we didn't know,
Mm-hmm.
or not that we didn't think that y'all would show up for us. Y'all have never had to show up for us
Right.
like this. So, seeing y'all show up for us like this is like,
Mm-hmm.
wow. That's all. We were just like,
Well,
wow,
you expect your parents to show up for you?
we did. We did, but we never thought, just like you said, you never think that, stuff like this, happens. So it just, it's just so different.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it's, you call on your parents for something, I need $200, I need a penny, like, but I need,
Right. No,
can you get the girl,
That is
something
small.
like that.
That stuff is small.
this is a new normal. I guess
Exactly.
we got a new normal.
Yes. Yes, yes. So, us having, and then not having grown up, being emotional and stuff like
Yeah.
that, then, having to deal with all these emotions and, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Maybe you need to go talk to a psychiatrist or something. Maybe you need to get some counseling.
I have one, okay?
Yeah.
I have one. That's got my appointments. Yeah, yeah. Got my appointments. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But definitely appreciate y'all, and those of you in the audience, we appreciate y'all as well. As always, the
Oh, I forgot about the
comments,
audience. Oh, shoot.
yeah, everything. I forgot about the audience.
What's the
I get to see where Tamesha and I get it from. Okay, this is the source, right? This is the source. But we appreciate you. We appreciate the thoughts, the prayers. We appreciate the love, the comments, the tips, everything. And again, like I always tell you, if I don't reply to you on YouTube, please just bear with me because I struggle on
struggle?
replying to the comments. I do. I struggle replying to the comments on YouTube, but just know that you are appreciated. You have all of our gratitude. So. Thank you for tuning in with us. Mom, Dad, thank you. And then we will see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Her Health First Wellness Collective. I hope today's video gave you the knowledge, inspiration, or support that you needed. If you found this helpful, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up and share it with someone who could use it too. And don't forget, subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss a new upload. Now let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Your voice matters here. Until next time, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and remember, her health comes first. See y'all soon.